Hi Year 3, this is your Friday comprehension session. If you haven't done yesterday's session, can you stop the video now and have a look at that first? Yesterday we were having a look at the recount to do with dolphins, and if you haven't done that one already, then have a look at that first. So today's comprehension lesson, we are again looking at a recount, quite similar to yesterday's one. They're on holiday and they're having a look, and you can see in the picture and down here in capital letters, they're looking at whales, and they've got some questions as well. Now, because it's Friday's comprehension, this session is going to be more independent. So I'm happy to go through the text with you, and I'll read the questions to you to give you some ideas. But then from then on, what we're going to do is I'm going to leave you to go through it independently. So let's go through the text first of all. This is the whole text here for you to read. I'd like you to pause the video and have a read of it by yourself first. I'm happy to zoom in for you a little bit. That will help. I'd like you to have a read of this first. If there's any words that you find tricky, if you can ask an adult in your room or have a think about it and use your sounds carefully, and then you can check if you sounded it out correctly when I read it for you. So have a read of this first, please. Okay, I'm going to read it for you, and I will go through any words that you might find tricky. And as I'm reading it, I'd like you to write down on your piece of paper any features of a recount that you can see. So last week in English, like I said yesterday, we looked at features of a recount, and we looked at the diary entry that they did, and then you had to write your own recount as if you're a Victorian child. Now, this is another recount, and I want you to have a look at any features that you can see or hear in here as I read it to you. I'd like you to write them down. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Ken's summer holidays on the Isle of Mull, day 3. Today, we went on a sea trip. It was awesome. We were lucky that it was a calm day, so Callum didn't get seasick. Yesterday it was windy, and so we probably couldn't have gone on a boat, but today the weather was perfect. We left from Tobermory, the main town on the island. The boat was called Silver Swift. It wasn't very big, but we weren't sleeping on it, so it didn't matter. We even had to bring our own picnic, although you could buy hot drinks and snacks on board. Even though it was sunny and warm, Dad made us take jumpers and cagoules because he said it would be cold out on the open sea. A cagoule is like a waterproof coat. At first, we laughed at him, but unfortunately, he was right. After an hour, both Callum and I reluctantly pulled on our jumpers. Reluctantly. Have a pause of the video. What does reluctantly mean? If you're reluctant to do something, what does it mean? Have a think for me. So reluctantly means you don't want to do it. If you're reluctant to do something, so for example, if I said to you in class, you need to stay inside to get your work finished and you're not able to go outside for break time till it's done, you might be reluctant to do your work because all you want to do is go outside, so you don't really want to do it. So Callum and I reluctantly pulled on our jumpers. They didn't want to, but they did pull them on. It wasn't worth being cold just to prove Dad wrong. We saw lots of seals. They did look funny, bobbing up and down in the water. When they bark, they sound like dogs. We had great fun trying to spot a new seal before anyone else in the family. But then someone shouted from the other side of the boat. We rushed across to see what the fuss was about and saw a whale's spout. We watched it for a while as it blew water from its blowhole. Then it dived back under the water. A real live whale. We thought that was it, but suddenly it leaped. Someone said it was a minke whale. They say that minke whales are small whales, but I'll tell you that when it jumped, it didn't look small. It made a huge splash as it belly flopped back into the water. It was so close that we all got soaked. When we left the cottage this morning, we hoped to see seals and maybe dolphins, but we saw a whole whale. Best day ever. And there's a little photo and it says, Dad took this photo of the whale as it jumped. There's a caption at the bottom. Okay, so first thing I want you to do is I want you to write down any features of a recount that you could see. And that can be the start of your comprehension. So you should have a little list, you can do bullet points of what you could see. So could you see any first person? For example, where it says we. Could you see any chatty or colloquial language? For example, it was awesome, or some things in brackets. Could you see any short sentences and longer sentences? Were there any time adverbials there? Were there any time connectives there? Was there a comma after any of the time adverbials? Have a think if you could see any of our features of a recount, and I'd like you to write that list first. Okay, And let's have a look at the questions. Now, remember, I'm not going to go through how to work them out. I'll give you some little tips, but I'm going to ask you to do that independently. So these are our questions today. I'm just going to zoom out for you. So there are 9 questions. I'm going to go through them for you. So the first question is, look at the first paragraph. Find and copy one word that means the same as good. So you are looking at just this paragraph here, and you are looking for a word that means good. Another word, a synonym. So it also means good. You're having a look for another word for that. And remember, you need to copy it. So if you spell it wrong, you might not get the mark. You have to copy it exactly. Question 2, why would the family not have gone on a boat the day before? So what was the reason that they said in the text? What was the reason why they might not have gone on a boat the day before? Question 3, find and copy 2 things that you learned about the boat they travelled on. You need to find 2 things about the boat. They need to be facts because you're going to be copying them. So it can't be things that you assume is correct. You've got to actually find the evidence. So on the text, you need to look for what you can say about the boat. For example, maybe the name of the boat, or what it looked like, or what you could have on it. Question 4, why were the boys reluctant to put their jumpers on? So we said what the reluctant meant earlier on. So why did the boys not want to put their jumpers on? And remember, skim the text to find that word reluctant, to find the answer to that. That's a key word in that sentence. So looking in the text, you don't need to read all the text again. You can just skim the lines carefully until you find that word. Question 5. It made a huge splash as it belly flopped back into the water. Ken could have said it landed, but why did he use the word belly flopped? So that means the whale has jumped up, and if it belly flops, it lands flat like that. Why did he use that word rather than just saying it landed in the water? Tick one box. So is it because it helps the reader to understand what he saw? People splash when they do belly flops. Belly flops are painful, so the whale must have been hurt, or the reader needs to know the whale landed on its belly. Have a think. And once you've ticked your box, have a think why that is the case. Why does the reader need to know that information? When it belly flops, is it going to cause more of a mess, more water everywhere? Have a think about that as well. Question 6. Ken enjoyed the day. Find and copy 2 pieces of evidence for this statement. You need to find 2 pieces of evidence that he enjoyed the day. I know there was something at the end that he said to say that he enjoyed the day. So find 2 pieces of evidence, and that's worth 2 marks. And the other one up here was only worth 1 mark. So this one you get 2 marks for if you get both of them right. Question 7. Fill in the gaps in this sentence. The family hoped to see something, but instead they saw something. Now I remember that's quite near the end of it, because right at the end when they were reflecting on the day, oh, we wanted to see certain animals, but instead we got to see something else. So you need to complete those sentences. Question 8. Why does Ken use capital letters at the end of his blog? So this is his blog, that's what it's called. His recount is written as a blog. Here, he's got capital letters here and here. Why is what it's asking you there. Why is he got capital letters there? Think about how I read that section. Best day ever. And question 9. Number these things to show the order in which Ken saw them. Whale jumping, silver swift, that was the name of the boat, I believe, seals bobbing, and whale blowing water. You need to number them in the box 1, 2, 3, 4 to say what order they are in. Now be careful, this one is a number question and this one is a tick question. Make sure you don't get them mixed up, because I've seen ones on Tapestry before where we've numbered both of them or just ticked both of them and you wouldn't get that mark. So question 5 is a tick question and question 9 is a number one. I'm just going to zoom out again because some people need to take a photo of the questions, which is fine. And then once you've done that, what you can do is you can put your answers onto Tapestry along with your bullet points of what we've seen in the recount, and then your teacher will have a look at it for you and give you some feedback. Good luck. I hope that all makes sense, and have a lovely weekend and have a lovely half term, and I'll see you when we come back. Hopefully we won't be at home for too much longer. Bye, Year 3.